is, guys? It's your boy Blastphamoushd, and today we're here to hopefully not get as scared as I know that I probably am going to get. This is a mistake. I have not listened to a good scary story in a long time, and that is for good reason. Now, with that being said, after we listen to a couple of scary stories, I'm gonna tell you guys a scary story that happened to me at a movie theater. Leave a link in the description down below to my playlist, to a playlist I have. I've told over 100 and something stories on YouTube of crazy crap that's happened to me. Yes, I have that much crazy crap happen to me in my 32 years on this earth, whereas I have way more stories than that. But yeah, this is 3 scary stories for y'all artists. Let's go. So the stories by Krylo. The stories are by Krylo, Eric, and Ryan M. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce that other one.
It was April of 2015. Me, my girlfriends, and my little brother, who was 9 years old, had gone to a small nearby movie theater on a Wednesday night to see the horror movie It Follows. We usually went late on weekends to get the whole theater to ourselves.
It Follows is probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
Plus, I had off on Thursdays that semester. When we entered the theater, at first it seemed like we were the only ones inside, but then my little brother pointed somebody out. It was a man in a dark gray hoodie sitting in the top left corner seat in the theater. It was a little sketchy, but nobody would really give it a second thought. We picked upper middle row seats with a railing in front so we could put our feet up, and we each sat with an empty seat between us for more room. I know, that sounds weird to do with my girlfriend with me, but having my brother there made it a different story. I was sitting the closest to the edge, and therefore the closest to the one other guy in the room besides us. Within 5 minutes, the previews were over and the movie was starting. The lights in the theater dimmed to darkness, and the only light now was the light projecting from the screen. My little brother took out his bag of candies he snuck in and started to eat them obnoxiously loud. About 5 minutes into the movie, over my brother's loud candy wrapper noises, which we told him to stop for the record, I thought I heard a pretty loud sound come from above and behind us. I waited a few seconds to sneak a glance behind us, and saw that the guy that was sitting in the top corner had moved down a row, which was odd. But again, I didn't give it more than a second thought. Another 5 minutes later, when the movie was already starting to get interesting, I heard something from behind us again. I turned when I thought it wouldn't be too obvious, and again, the guy was a whole row closer to us. I leaned to my girlfriend and said while chuckling, "Don't look, but that guy keeps moving closer to the screen." She shrugged her shoulders and didn't even show interest in checking. I told myself if he did it again, then I would have a problem, and managed to get back into the movie. I'd say another 5 minutes later, without even hearing anything this time, I just turned around out of curiosity and saw the man a whole row closer, but this time he wasn't at the last seat of the row anymore. He was moved further down the row, closer to us. Now he was only 3 rows behind us. I nudged my girlfriend and she turned around. Then she looked at me and gave me a confused, concerned kind of look. She asked me if we should move, and I said definitely not. At this point,
excuse him?
I wasn't able to pay attention to the movie anymore. Even though I was facing the screen, I felt like the man's gaze was hitting me in the back of the head. I told myself if he moves closer, I would turn around and firmly ask him what he was doing. But then I also thought, what if I'm looking too much into this? What if he's just a normal guy who happens to keep switching seats for a better view? Once more, I turned around, and the man was only 2 rows away from us now, closer to the center of the row, or rather directly behind us, and his head was just completely down looking at his lap. I didn't even bother to check what he was looking.
Oh man, he's trying to beat off on y'all. Oh.
He could have been looking at nothing. I literally opened my mouth ready to say something, but I was just too much of a coward.
How the hell you get a girl if you that much of a coward, bruh? Like, dang, you could at least get up and leave or something.
I was only 16 last year and pretty skinny. My little brother got up during a slow part of the movie to go to the bathroom. About a minute later, I turned to see if the man had gotten closer again, this time actually ready to say something. But I was shocked to see nobody behind us. It was completely empty. I told my girlfriend, and she said good. But then I stood up in pure fear, thinking of my little brother. Telling my girlfriend to wait there and running out of the room and into the...
You stupid... You gonna leave the female, really, and go help your family? Homie got his priorities all the way messed up. I'm just saying.
I saw the man in the gray hoodie entering the men's bathroom down the hall. Fearing for my little brother's safety, I ran down the hall toward the bathroom, opened the door, and saw the man literally on his knees peeking under the 2 stall doors. Then he looked at me, and at the same time I heard my little brother call me from down the hall. I saw him waving me over in confusion. I ran to him, got my girlfriend out of the movie room, and we went to the front desk. The teen working the front ticket stand called the police, showed us and the cops the video footage of the man walking down the hall, and then we filed a police report. I'm just so grateful that my brother went to a different bathroom down the opposite direction of the hall, because if he had been in there, even with my showing up to save him, I have no idea what would have happened.
I'd have left his little ass. Hey, look, man. It's every man for himself. Hey.
It's been over a year now, and the man was never identified. Back in 2008, Cloverfield was one of the biggest movies of the year, and I desperately wanted to see it. Most of my friends had already gone to see it, which upset me, given that I didn't want to be seen going to the movie theater alone. However, I didn't have work or school on Thursdays, so on Wednesday night, I figured I could get away with going alone to one of the small theaters nearby with a screening of the film at 9:30, since I knew it would be quiet. Well, I showed up, bought a ticket, and immediately realized the entire building was dead. I entered the theater, and much to my surprise, there was not a single person in there. There were 2 large sections of seats in the theater. I sat in the bottom row of the upper section, which was seated just behind a tiny wall. During the quiet parts of the movie, which were very few, I kept thinking that I was hearing something coming from behind me. It was almost like I was hearing a voice. Is someone there? Nothing. I felt like the sounds were just getting louder and closer, but I kept turning around and didn't see anyone. I felt like I was losing my mind. Eventually, the sounds became so loud that it was evident it was a crazed whispering. I was about to nope the fuck out of there, but when I got up and took one last look behind me, a figure popped up quickly from behind the seats just 2 rows up from me.
Man, dude, and you know what would happen if that was me? Bah! And that bah would have been me screaming in fear and running.
I ran like there was no tomorrow back to the lobby, where I saw nobody, not a single employee. I kept running to the car, took a few seconds to catch my breath once inside, and drove back home. I tried calling the theater that same night. I never got anyone to answer. I didn't bother the next day, and I just tried to let it go. It still freaks me out beyond imagination to this day.
Okay, so look, so back in the day, I was dating this girl, her name was Risa, and she was like, you know what I mean, she was like a good girl type of chick. You know, she hadn't never lived in no crazy area, so she had never been in any situations where, you know, life or death or whatever, right? So we was leaving Indianapolis out here in Vegas, and then a lot of people know Indianapolis is one of the movie theaters from back in the day. So we was leaving the movie theater, man, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, anybody who's ever been on Indianapolis knows on a weekday when it's 2 o'clock in the morning, there's no one on the road. We didn't have a car, so we was walking to the downtown Main Street bus station, which is the main bus station of Las Vegas, at least it was back then. We're walking, man, and me and her had gotten into it. You know, she said something stupid that I didn't really agree with, so I didn't really feel like hearing her mouth. So I was walking about a good 3 feet ahead of her. While we're walking, and there's no one on the road, there's no one on the sidewalks, there's no one out there, bro, and it's dark as hell. We see these 6 guys, or 5, or however, we just know it was more than 4. Street niggas, you know what I mean? And it was like the type you don't want to run into. You could look at them and tell they was on some shit. Don't know what shit they was on some shit. They're walking towards us on the same side. Even though I'm disagreeing with the girl I'm with right now, I'ma have to slow up and walk with her so that we can walk past these guys together. Cause you know, if I'm walking past, I know how to get around these type of dudes. If they say something to her, I need to let these dudes know that this is my chick. So I turn around to get my chick. What's the worst thing you could do in this situation? When you see 5, 6 scary looking dudes walking towards you, worst thing you can do is run. Granted, I'm not gonna say it was the worst thing that she could have done because it ended up working out. And if these guys would have said something to, you know, us while I was walking past them, I'd have said something stupid back, and we might not just be here. I've had it happen a bunch of times where a group of dudes think that because they got numbers on them, they'll say something sly or sideways to me. I'll turn around and be like, well, what's up? And you know, sometimes it goes good. Every once in a while, it doesn't go good. I've stopped doing stuff like that, okay? I turn around to see she's halfway across the street. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is literally the worst thing you could be doing at this point in time. Granted, I didn't want her to be across the street by herself or just out of fear. I decided to go across the street with her. So we get on the other side of the street and I'm like, okay, now we can't show any more fear. All right, you show fear to these guys enough and they'll just mess you up just off general principle. They're walking on the opposite side of the street and we're about to intersect, but on the opposite side of the street. And as we're about to intersect, I hear one of the guys on the other side of the street, hey girl, you look good. Hey, baby, you need to come over here and chill with a real one. So my girl hearing this and feeling the impending danger, like these guys are about to jump us, she turns around and tries to run in the opposite direction, which again was stupid. Because if she would have ran and I would have ran with her, they would have chased after us. And then it's game over, people. Like, we're getting jumped. Luckily enough, I caught her as she tried to run and I swooped her up and pulled her in. She starts crying. Really? So the guys, seeing that she tried to run and that I didn't run, they got a little bit mad. There's no in between. There ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. They start whooping, yo man, what you gonna do, man? We'll come over there and mash you, homie. We don't give a shit, nigga. We'll take your girl, bruh. Do something, bruh. We got the strap on us, bruh. Do something. We don't give a... Me being foolish and young, I'm mean mugging dudes because I'm mad. I don't like being put in them type of precarious type of situations, so I'm mad, right? I'm mad dogging dudes as they're walking past us on the opposite side of the street. The girl I'm with crying her eyeballs out. Ain't this a B word? We keep walking and the dudes are still woofing or whatever, and by the time we get all the way past them, I'm feeling like they gonna run up. You know, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was scared. I'm thinking that they gonna run up, so I'm looking down or whatever. It's looking like I'm looking down, but I'm really checking for shadows and listening for footsteps. The girl the whole time is crying her freaking eyeballs out. So I let her know, I'm like, yo, if these dudes run up on us, you run to the bus stop and ride home and I'll meet you home. Now this isn't me, proclaiming I'ma die for you. No, this is me saying in these situations, you're useless, alright? If these dudes run up on us and they jump us, 2 or 3 dudes, I might have a sizable chance of defending myself against. Now there's 4 or 5, so this might not go good, but I'll tell you, I like my chances a whole lot better when I ain't gotta worry about whatever's happening to this useless female I was with at the time. I'm not gonna say she was useless because she was a cool chick, but damn it, come on, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, at least hold your fear in like I am. Like, come on, bro, like, I'm here, like, you know what I mean? So, I was just telling her, yo, run to the bus stop and catch the bus home and I'll meet you home later. You know what I mean? I can hit the afterburners. I got way more options. I've gotten away from groups of people with cars before. So, you know what I mean? Like I can, you know what I mean? I got way more maneuverability without having to worry about this chick who's gonna run out of breath and not be able to hop a gate and probably start crying. You know what I mean? And then if I'm getting jumped, she gonna stand there and cry and then just get beat up too. So luckily enough, the dudes did not run up. We ended up getting to the bus stop and we got home, and of course we ended up breaking up. Not after that, it was like 2-3 years later. So needless to say, we got home safely, but you know what I mean? Like it was a very, very, very dangerous situation because if I had handled it differently, we would have gotten jumped. If I would have ran with her, we would have gotten jumped. It's the, hood whack niggas and I say hood whack because I mean, like only whack niggas need to jump a defenseless couple at night, yeah, at 2 o'clock in the morning when there's no one on the road and we ain't did nothing to them except for, you know, like, be afraid because they are walking and acting like they're gonna do what they ended up doing, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we ended up getting out of Dodge or whatever, man. We ended up getting home safe and everything was cool. And, you know, like I had to console her the whole time we were walking because she was crying her eyeballs off. That's all she did. How you gonna cry out of self-defense, bruh? So that's what made me mad, man. I was like, bruh, really? Come on, son. But yo, hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, if you did, make sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. This is your boy Blastphamoushd. There's also a link to the playlist in the description down below that leads to a playlist of crazy stories that I've had happen to me in my life. This being one of them, but I've never told this one on YouTube. Twisms!